Hey, what's going on, guys? Episode 4 of the pod. Quick little pod. We just talk about the Hall of Fame finalists and the trade deadline candidates. Just a quick little pod. I'll see you guys Tuesday for more interesting basketball news. Peace. Oh man, shit. Welcome back to episode 4 of the Corner 3 podcast, man. It is Friday. It's Friday already, man. Friday already, man. We recording this 3:21. Beautiful Friday, chilly semi-afternoon in New York City. What's going on, guys? What's going on, guys? Uh, Pretty interesting week in basketball as far as the Hall of Fame, March Madness coming up, the trade deadline is coming up, which is going to be. It's either going to be a boom or bust situation where, because almost all the teams think they're in playoff contention with this new playing option that they have. So pretty much everybody but what the Wolves and Detroit thinks they're in the playoffs, which comes with great basketball. It comes with great basketball. I'm not complaining, but the trade deadline might be a little bit dead. But let's jump right straight into the pod, right? I wanted to talk about the Hall of Fame and their finalists and just the major people who made the finalists and to make a case on why they should make the Hall of Fame, right? One name that popped up to me, Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce is up to get into the Hall of Fame. I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. There's no question. What he did throughout his career, one of the better small forwards to come through in the late 90s and throughout the 2000s. He won a championship in '08 Finals MVP. Called him the truth, man. You know, with him and Walker in those Patino days, man, they were jacking up threes, man. They were kind of like the modern Golden State Warriors that we know today. They're just jacking up a whole bunch of shots, had them boys playing. Shout out to Rick Pitino though, down there doing his thing in Iona. Shout out to Rick Pitino. But nonetheless, to say, as a Knicks fan, damn, yo, he killed us. He killed us on a regular, bro. Like, no funny shit. And I've always hated Paul Pierce throughout my career. I've always had bitterness towards Paul Pierce because, like, literally, like, it's just this cockiness and I don't know, just something about him. Like, I hate. I guess if you're a fan of the team, you love him. If you're against them, you hate him. That type of deal, right? Next dude on the list, Michael Cooper, Showtime Lakers, awesome defender. He's been on the finalist list like damn near every year, which is kind of you could tell that he's a little bit unappreciative because he's a big part of that Showtime Lakers. So obviously he's not Magic, he's not Kareem, he's not worthy. But he oftentimes defended the best player, and I remember reading how he used to have his girl. Him and his girl he used to keep his girl up watching Larry Bird tape. He had to stop this man. He had to stop this man, which is dope, which is pretty cool to see that dedication and elite level of defensive play that Michael Cooper put out there for the Showtime Lakers. Kind of like that. Shout out to that Iguodala type of player, could do everything. They also put in Bill Russell. Bill Russell's already in the Hall of Fame as a player, but as a coach too, because he did win back-to-back titles with the Celtics as a player coach, which is kind of crazy if you really think about it now. Imagine LeBron was a player coach. I think it could have worked back then, but I don't know if it could work now with just how people take things and react to stuff, and I don't know if it could work now. Especially the league is so young and kind of immature if you really think about it, right? And you got a lot of that type of stuff going on. But Bill Russell does, for a coach winning back-to-back titles, a player coach at that too. Back in those days where there wasn't like no social media, like come on, right? Next up, Chris Bosh. See, a lot of casual basketball fans they disrespect Chris Bosh, right? Cause he's just the third wheel in Miami and blah blah blah. But bro, like before he went to Miami, he was a 25-10 guy, right? In Toronto, carrying them to the playoff with his second best player being Andre Bargnani, which is, you know, I don't know if I remember in episode 1 how Knicks, the Knicks, they're in love with Julius Randle right now, and they were saying on how prime Julius Randle, like Julius Randle right now, is better than any version of Chris Bosh, which is just, I'm a big Julius Randle fan, but that's absurd to me, man. That is absurd to me. Just the track record, and what he did on those Miami team, being able, first of all, he elevated his game for him to be a capable 3-point shooter from Miami, let them open up the floor. He upgraded his game defensively so well throughout his career, because when he first got to the league, he wasn't the best defensive player. He was just some skinny kid out of I believe Georgia Tech. Defense got better, the range started extending, and he built himself a wonderful Hall of Fame career. 2 rings, multiple All-Stars, 8+ All-Stars. Like he did his thing, and it's kind of sad how his career got cut short, because that second half of Miami, right, when LeBron left and went to Cleveland, they had a season where they got bounced off the second round, and it looked like that following season Pat Riley was gonna build a legit team around Chris Bosh and an agent D Wade, and they had some pieces there to move forward, but it just, the blood clot injury, and he was never ever to return, and he never stepped foot on the court again, which is pretty sad. It was pretty sad. Where nobody wants to end their career like that, but it is crazy. Next up, Ben Wallace, man. Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace, man, how long has been? I feel like he's like Michael Cooper. He's been on the finals list for a while, at least 2 times, right? Man, Ben Wallace, definitely one of the better defensive players coming up in the 2000s. Pretty much, he didn't contain Shaq, but he helped. Like he was a big process on when they won the chip in '04, being their game plan around Shaq. Plus and he won 3 defensive players of the years, and just a real physical force. There's been guys that's came in and out the league like Ben Wallace, but never contributed to a championship team like Ben Wallace. Players that I could compare to him today, like Bam. Bam is a good example, right? Maybe Joakim Noah back in the day, like players like that who really take the initiative defensively. Really, that's their shit. Like, you ain't fuck with them defensively, And when he left Detroit, he kind of tapered off. Not gonna lie. When LeBron scored 34 straight points, he wasn't there. He was already he was already. I forgot what team he got traded to. Forgive me. But he was already gone, and you could tell the immediate impact in Detroit, because they was ready to go to the finals that year and play San Antonio again in '07. But it is what it is. And the biggest name to me that should make it, no doubt about it, Chris Webber. Shout out to Chris Webber. Plus, if y'all didn't know, the Basketball Hall of Fame is just not NBA like players, it's also European, women's. It's a Basketball Hall of Fame. Coaches are in there, college coaches are in there. If you made a big impact on the game of basketball, or a decent impact, you're gonna be in. It's not all about what you did in the league, right? Chris Bosh, how he, number one, he changed college basketball, changed the style, changed the culture. That was unheard of. 5 freshmen starting, going deep in the tournament. Too bad they never really won. and people are gonna hold his Michigan career against him just because he took money. But that happens all the time. Are we really gonna sit here and really act like college coaches don't give recruits money to come to their school? Everybody wants the 5-star recruit. How are you gonna separate? How are you gonna separate? Right? How are you gonna separate yourself? That was a joke. That was a joke. But yeah, like I remember listening to a pod. I believe it was Chris Mannix, Sports Illustrated, and he was saying on how one recruit, he can't say the name, but they gave him a book bag, shirts, and cups and all that. This one school gave this recruit all of that, and when he got inside his car and he looked inside the book bag, just a whole bunch of cash, a whole bunch of hundreds, just bunch of blue cheese in the book bag, and that happens all the fucking time, all the time. So, and he's poor, and the and NCAA are taking the. You even see it now with the women's bubble and the men's bubble, right? All the stuff that the men get in the tournament, or the gear, and then you compare it. It's big. It's big, And Kay Cunningham said, "Oh, look, this is why we hate you guys. This is why everybody hates you guys. That's why you see the Jalen Greens going to G League. That's why you see the Kumungas go to the G League. It's any route. They're not. Kids these days, they want to be bosses, and they're not gonna sit back and let you take advantage of them when there's other opportunities to be looked at the same. But we're tapering off. We're tapering off. But talk about Chris Webber, probably the most complete big man. Like, could do everything. Was great defensively. Was a great passer. Great athleticism. One of the major reason parts on why he's underrated because of the era he played in, the power forward era. He played in the troop. You know how now it's a point guard wing era. Now, but back before it was a power forward era, man. Kevin Garnett. You had Dirk. You had Timmy. Later down the line, you had Bosh. You had a whole bunch of cats, right? You had a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of power forward. Those are the main ones, right? And he used to fight with them every night. Every night he used to battle them, and on a lot of occasions he came up on top. I remember on open court, he was like, "I might not be in the Hall of Fame, but tell your favorite power forward how he dealt with me." You know, it's hilarious. Underappreciated talent, and there's a whole bunch of guys and throughout history that's they don't give a fuck about, or they played in an era where it's not really looked. Shout out to Chris Bosh. Shout out to Chris Bosh for real, for real. And I bought his Michigan dunks. Fan of that era of basketball. Shout out for the 30 for 30, the documentary that they put on him. That they put on that group. Too bad Chris Webber couldn't be in it because of the complications, right? College complications. That's still going on today. But we're gonna take a little break and we're gonna talk about the trade deadline. We're gonna talk about key players that might get dealt in the trade deadline. Thank you. All right, so last section I want to talk about. Quick little pod today. Last section I want to talk about is the trade deadline, right? So trade deadline's coming up pretty soon, quicker than you think, and few names that's been on the trading block since damn near the beginning of the season, and let's talk about it, right? So Aaron Gordon, Orlando, Aaron. I believe they're trying to get rid of truly Aaron Gordon and Fournier this off season. I mean, not this off season, this trade deadline. And I heard that they wanted a young player and a draft pick for Aaron Gordon. Nobody's giving that up. Number one. Like, Aaron Gordon is damn near 30. Shout out to him, because he's really improved his game. He was just a leaper. His playmaking has came along. The shooting, the inside scoring has came along. He's a starting piece, definitely, right? Maybe a really, really good 6-man on a championship team. But he could start on my squad, no problem. Fournier, a shooter, which is going to go for the premium, He's a good shooter. Averaging 18 mostly through his career. I'll fuck with it. Like, if I wouldn't give a first round pick for Fournier because I know the Knicks have been looking at Fournier for a while. Don't think if the price is too much, then shouldn't really pull the trigger for it. But if it's like a second round pick, fuck with Fournier. Fournier could come slide to the two. DeMar DeRozan, I believe the San Antonio Spurs should have dealt DeRozan last offseason. I would have loved to see him in Atlanta. I would have loved to see him in Atlanta. Him and Trey Young with those veterans. I really believe that would have impacted their season way better than the moves what they did with Gallinari and Bogdan. Just because if you look at the Spurs are pretty fun to watch. Shout out to DeMar for really elevating his playmaking. And it's not a knock on like DeMar and him getting traded. It's just a new era of basketball for the Spurs. They're trying to go young. They drafted Devin Vassell. They still got Lonnie Walker, Keldon Johnson. Still, he's playing great. DeJounte Murray. They just paid Derek White. Yeah, so they got a lot of pieces. A lot of young pieces, and Pop is starting to pivot towards the young guys. Where they cut off LaMarcus Aldridge. We could probably see a buyout and him signing on to probably Miami or Portland. But if a team that's close, I feel like they're one piece away. If they're able to give up a first round pick, I'm pretty sure San Antonio would look hard at that deal and see if they wanted to do it. Josh Collins, I don't think Atlanta wants to pay him. I think they're just on two different wavelengths as far as what he's worth on the market. I know Josh Collins wanted a max contract. I heard he turned down 90 million on the table. He's still young. I would have took that 90 million and built on that. When I watch Atlanta games, I've never looked at John Collins and be like, yep, I would give a max contract to him. Like, he impacts the game so much. Man, I need to retain him on my team. I've never looked at Josh. Maybe it's cause I don't know. It's defensively. He's just not built like a defender. Remember I said that about Randall, and I said that about really move their feet at the 4 position, right? So they're just stuck and they're too small to pay the 5. It happens like that with guys. But Josh Collins, he's a talent offensively. I could see maybe a rebuilding team that's fresh on a rebuild that needs to acquire talent. Maybe keep like taking him and paying him. Houston, I heard Timberwolves really want him. I don't know how that fit is gonna be. They want to be a turnstile on defense over there, but it seems like that could happen, right? I don't know. That's just whoever trades for Josh Collins has to be prepared to pay him. Simple. Don't know what type of contract maybe he settles for the 90 mil, but we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how his off season, not even just his off season, not even his trade deadline. Drummond, Cleveland's is in a little situation with Drummond, right? They're trying to get what I heard from Woj, and what I'm getting from the situation is they're pretty much trying to get what they got. They're trying to get what they gave up for him, which is a second round pick. They gave up Brandon Knight. Remember Crispy Flakes, big Detroit fan. It was like he was complaining on how we got like the worst Detroit basketball player back on the team for Drummond. Like, I know Detroit fans weren't the happiest for that. He's not the most effective around the rim offensively, but he's a great rebounder. I don't even know what else to say. Like, he's a piece. He's a piece that's able to help him. I see him going to the Lakers. I would like, The Hornets, I know, because I was watching the Hornets last night. I'm like, damn, they really need the center. They probably have the worst center rotation in the league with Zeller and Biombo. Like, I like Biombo's effort, but I can't believe Zeller's still in the league. Like, holy shit, crazy. Michael Jordan whiffed the fuck out that pick and paid him, and now he's just there every year, just running up and down the court, goofy as hell. Kind of crazy, kind of crazy. Next on the list, Kevin Love. Yo, I don't even remember the last time I saw Kevin Love on a fucking basketball court, bro. Like every time I watch Cleveland games, I just see him hyped as hell on the sidelines. The question is for me is, does he have enough in the tank? Like, how much does he even have left? Like, is he like is he still able to play and on the elite level? I don't know. I mean, whoever is getting him, you still have to pay him, and you still have to figure out where can he even play and what role can he have on a competitive team on a playoff run. Like, don't know how. I don't know what's the state of Kevin Love. Same as Blake Griffin, but I have a little bit more confidence in Blake Griffin. But nigga, what the fuck is going on with this Kevin Love shit? I remember they paid him after LeBron left, and it's like, bro, what are y'all doing? Are you just rewarding the man for the chip, or it's just like a piece? You see him as a piece to rebuild around? Kind of confused. I was confused as hell. I remember me and my homie were just like, we were confused. We were confused. Lonzo Ball. Now Lonzo Ball, like the rumors around him in New York are crazy. I really seeing that the jump shot has finally came around, which is pretty dope. I love that the jump shot has came around. The like it seems like as soon as his little brother came into the league, he started figuring it out. I know New Orleans just I don't know what's going on with New Orleans if they would ever figure it out with Bledsoe and Steven Adams, because Bledsoe has just had an awful, pitiful year. I don't know if it's because of the COVID, or is it the fit, or is just this is the type of player that he is now. But man, they need to get Bledsoe out of that situation, and maybe because he doesn't have the ball in his hands, he's playing besides Lonzo at the two. Maybe that all of those reasons are the reasons why he's struggling. But I don't know Zoe's future there because they have a whole plethora of guards. They just drafted Kerry Lewis. They still have Shai's cousin Neil Alexander Walker, who's a great player, who's a great offensive player. Um, what else? Like they got a whole bunch of guards on that team. Josh Hart still needs to get his minutes, and it's an interesting situation. I don't know how the LeVar factor is gonna be in there. I don't know if he wants his brother to stay in New Orleans, or maybe he'll go to the Hornets or New York. I don't know. I don't know how they feel about Lonzo, but I do know that the price for Lonzo to get him is high. I do know that they at least want one first round pick for him and a young player. I know that's the package that they want for him, and I think honestly, I think it's worth it just because Lonzo, he's on the ups. That the projection for Lonzo is pretty good. It's pretty nice to see how he's playing, and those Laker years, I look like, holy shit, what the fuck is this dude? And he's finally coming to form. It takes guys, not everybody comes out the gate like gangbusters like John Morant. Take some time. Take some time. And it's nice to see Lonzo Ball really figuring it out, even though the team's not doing well. Maybe that's the reason why they want him gone so bad, but we'll see. And then the Oladipo rumors. I know he's been playing well since he got back, but I don't know if because he didn't like the offer sheet that like Indiana gave him, or he feel like he's worth more money. But nobody's gonna pay him the max contract now with all those injuries. Don't care if he puts up 40 every night to the end of the season. Nobody's gonna invest that much money into him. I'm pretty sure he wants to go to Miami. I've heard the Knicks rumors but I don't want to give up no assets for him. I know the Rockets, they're in a rebuilding situation, so they're gonna want some assets for him. I don't think he gets moved. I heard the Golden State rumors, but I just don't think Oladipo gets moved. Just on the simple fact, you're gonna have to pay him, and if you are willing to pay him, does he wants to stay there? I know there's only a few handful of teams that he'll feel comfortable staying there, and those teams don't want to give up assets like the Miami Heat are not giving up Duncan Robinson just to get somebody that they can sign in the off season. No, that's just not happening. That's just not how smart front offices work, right? It's just not. It's just not how it works. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up. Shout out to y'all if y'all still listening. We're gonna be back next week Tuesday, and we're gonna chat it up. Chat it up. Alright, peace.